Question: what the heck does a network engineer do? How am I going to start preparing for an interview for a role I don't even know what it is? If your thought process was anything like this, then you're in the right place, my friend. I'm here to clear up any confusion you may have around what this role actually is. I don't know about you, but what comes to my mind when thinking of the network engineer role is someone designing network infrastructures tailored to the needs of a business, ensuring scalability, redundancy, and optimal performance. Although that statement is very true, there are levels to this position. One crucial thing to understand is not all network engineering roles are created equal. Depending on the needs of the company you're interviewing with, the role can have a heavier focus on certain sectors of networking engineering than others. When preparing for an interview, it would be a good idea to know which of these main categories best suit the role you're going to be interviewing for. Knowing this information can not only inform you of what your day-to-day will look like, but it also points you in the right direction when it comes to predicting what kinds of interview questions you're going to get hit with the hardest. There's 6 categories. Let's run through a brief synopsis of each category to get you thinking about which one is most like the job description of your future role. This network design and planning focused role has tasks that are going to be primarily assessing organizational requirements for bandwidth, security, and connectivity, creating network topology diagrams, selecting appropriate hardware like routers, switches, and firewalls. In other words, the really cool stuff. An example of interview questions is, can you explain how would you design a network for a company with multiple branch offices, ensuring scalability and redundancy? Number 2, implementation and configuration. This role is implementing the planned work infrastructure and configuring devices to establish connectivity. You can usually recognize this role by spotting a heavy emphasis on 3 things: installing physical devices like routers, switches, access points, and firewalls, configuring protocols like OSPF, BGP, or VLANs for efficient data routing and segregation, implementing QoS or quality of service policies to prioritize traffic. A good example for the type of interview questions you'll get for a role like this is, how would you configure a router to prioritize VoIP traffic over regular browsing? Number 3, network maintenance and optimization. This role type is basically ensuring that the network operates efficiently and reliably over time, which in my area is the most popular style of network engineering to date. Their tasks are usually monitoring network performance with tools like SolarWinds, Wireshark, PRTG, troubleshooting latency, packet loss, and hardware failures, then updating firmware and applying security patches to devices. This division of network engineering is where the bulk of my experience comes from. This role will undoubtedly have a plethora of questions related to, tell me about a time where you solved a similar issue to this, or can you talk me through how you would resolve an issue like this? But another good example question for this category is, what tools do you use to monitor performance, and how would you address high latency issues? Number 4, security management, which is protecting the network against vulnerabilities and ensuring data integrity. I know what you're thinking. Hey, that's cybersecurity. And if that was your thought, then let me
free your mind.
The role of a network engineer is quite robust, so it's a good idea to at least learn about setting up firewalls, intrusion detection / prevention systems, and VPNs, performing vulnerability assessments and implementing countermeasures, responding to and mitigating security incidents like DDoS attacks or unauthorized access are also on the table for this category. A great example question would be, how would you secure a network with both internal and external users, and what steps would you take to prevent unauthorized access? Number 5, documentation and training, which, like it sounds, It's creating detailed network documentation and educating teams about network usage and protocols. As you can probably guess, this one would be more for the experienced engineers that's been in network engineering for some time. But a great interview question for this sector would be, how do you approach documenting a network? And why is it important for ongoing maintenance and troubleshooting? Lastly, number 6, innovation and upgrades. This is another pretty senior sector of network engineering. It's keeping the network updated with emerging technologies and keeping evolving businesses' demands, which basically means tasks like migrating to cloud solutions like AWS or Azure, implementing SD-WAN for flexible connectivity, and exploring automation for tools for network orchestration. A prime interview question for a role like this would be, can you describe a situation where you implemented a new technology or upgraded an existing network? What challenges did you face and how did you overcome them? Okay, after going over each of the most popular sectors of network engineering, to help you feel more confident in going for these interviews with victory in clear sight, I want to leave you with just some quick answers to the example questions in hopes that they will provide you with much value in your upcoming opportunities. Question and answer number 1. Can you explain how you would design a network for a company with multiple branch offices, ensuring scalability and redundancy? I would design the network using hub and spoke technology, connectivity between main office and branches, ensuring redundancy with backup links. I'd also use scalable solutions like cloud services and modular hardware to accommodate growth. Question and answer number 2. How would you configure a router to prioritize VoIP traffic over regular web browsing? I would configure QoS settings on the router, prioritizing VoIP traffic by tagging it with a higher DSCP value and creating policies to ensure it gets bandwidth priority over regular web traffic. Number 3, what tools do you use to monitor network performance and how would you address high latency issues? I would use tools like SolarWinds and PRTG to monitor performance. For high latency, I would check for bandwidth bottlenecks, misconfigured devices, or excessive traffic and adjust configurations accordingly. Questions and answers number 4. How would you secure a network with both internal and external users, and what steps would you take to prevent unauthorized access? I would implement firewalls, segment the network with VLANs, enforce strong access controls, and use VPNs for external users. I'd also regularly audit the network vulnerabilities. Questions and answers number 5. How do you approach documenting a network, and why is this important for ongoing maintenance and troubleshooting? I create detailed network diagrams, configuration files, and troubleshooting guides. This ensures that everyone working on the network has a clear understanding of the setup and can resolve issues quickly. And for number 6, can you describe a situation where you implemented a new technology or upgraded an existing network? What challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them? I upgraded a legacy network to SD-WAN, which improved performance and reduced costs. The challenge was coordinating between multiple vendors, but I resolved this by setting clear timelines and regular communication. Alright, I hope this video blesses you and the value multiplies you. Until next time, I'm out.